I'm betting a lot of you guys watching this video right now have played an aircraft at 9.0 battle rating or somewhere around that area, and you didn't have any countermeasures, despite the fact that you have to go up against 30G all-aspect infrared missiles every other match. And I bet a lot of you watching this video have also played a 9.0 subsonic aircraft, and you've been having to fight entire lobbies full of supersonic aircraft and planes that you could just never dream of catching in a straight line, out-accelerate, or out-climb, and you do nothing but kind of just chase them around the map for 10 minutes and just wait for them to die to missiles, watch your teammates kill them, or maybe if you're lucky, you manage to get the scraps of what's left over after a fight. These are the types of matches you're going to have very frequently in a plane like the Ariete, for example. This thing is going to have matches where you just cannot catch any of the planes you're going up against. You're going to have to try your best to dodge a 30G all-aspect infrared missile, all just because you had the absolute privilege of paying $50 worth of Golden Eagles to unlock this thing. Honestly, you're much better off spending those Golden Eagles elsewhere, like maybe getting a day of premium time, which you can actually do for free by downloading today's video sponsor, Free Golden Eagles for War Thunder. Free Golden Eagles for War Thunder is an app available on the Google Play Store in which you complete tasks of varying difficulty, and depending on how difficult the task is, that's going to determine how many Golden Eagles you're going to get for free. Are you going to be getting thousands of Golden Eagles really easily and really quickly? Probably not, but you can get a couple hundred Golden Eagles at a time relatively simply, and I'd recommend taking those and buying a low tier SL grinder or maybe a day of premium for a weekend grind session. Download the app using the link in the description down below and use my code on screen for 10 extra Golden Eagles. It's pretty sad that the state of this battle rating range is at the point where a good plane for the battle rating is not necessarily what is good compared to other planes of its BR, but rather how good is that plane in a full up tier scenario? How good is that plane when you have to be fighting 30G all aspect IR missiles? How good is that plane when you're going to be fighting supersonic jet fighters that are 10 years older than you are at minimum? For example, once again, if you look to the screen, you see the Ariete. On paper, this plane should be extremely strong. You have flight performance that honestly beats out a lot of even 10.0 aircraft in every way except for top speed. But then when you look at a plane like the A4N, I'm pretty sure it got renamed to the Ayit or something like that. The A4N in the Israeli tech tree, it's a worse plane in pretty much every regard when it comes to flight performance. But you know what? The flight performance is still good enough, but you also get flares and 4 pretty strong missiles for the battle rating. And so the A4N is honestly a more effective plane in this battle rating bracket than something like the Ariete, despite the Ariete being a UFO and could fly circles around the A4N all day long. So on one hand, you have planes that are really strong in the average ARB setting where you have teammates around, you have a lot of enemies around. But then on the other hand, you have the problem where if you're in one of these aircraft and you get toward the late stage of the game and you're just unfortunate enough to be stuck with something like an Ariete or a MiG-19 in a 1 versus 1, there's going to be pretty much nothing you're going to be able to do to that guy. He's just got you beat in all categories, and without any teammates around to have to worry about, without any all-aspect 30G missiles around to deny his area of play, there's really not anything you can do against a fighter like that, especially when it's set to a battle rating of 9.3. Why the MiG-19S is the same battle rating as the CL-13 Sabre Mark 6 or whatever, the CL-13B Mark 6, it's just mind-boggling. Where did War Thunder go wrong? How did we end up here? Look at aircraft like the MiG-15 BIS, the MiG-17, the F-2 Sabre, the Hunter F-1. I bet a lot of you don't even remember that the Hunter F-1 exists. And you compare them with planes that are just 0.3 battle rating higher, such as the MiG-19 again, the F-104, the F-100, and so on, the Ariete, for example. These are planes that honestly, these legacy 9.0 aircraft can't really do anything to if you're flying the 9.3s to their strength. They have all of the power in the world over them, they have the top speed over them, they have the energy retention over them, the acceleration. You've really got to screw up a fight to lose to a MiG-17 in the Ariete, but only 0.3 higher battle rating. Why is that? Well, again, it's just because these planes are fighting really high G missiles with no countermeasures, and it makes it extremely difficult and annoying to use. It creates a dynamic where these ARB games aren't really being decided by what planes are on what team, but more so how does the team as a whole do in general. Not to say that this isn't somewhat involved with every plane at every battle rating, but especially so at this battle rating, it depends a little bit less on what people are playing and more so what decisions they make. Who are they going to go for? Who do they triple team? Things of this nature. I know that kind of sounds obvious, like this kind of thing is considered in every single aerialistic battle, but it's really difficult to describe the dynamic. Essentially, just what I'm trying to say is that dogfights never happen, the flight performance isn't as important, and what is important is how survivable is the plane. How easily can you survive a pass from 3 or 4 targets at once while dodging missiles at the same time and being able to stay alive until your teammates are going to be able to come help you. This isn't quite as important at lower BRs, and it's not quite as important as really high BRs, because really high BRs are missile gameplay and everybody has missiles, everybody has countermeasures. It's not extremely hard to stay alive. And same with the lower BRs, you can rely entirely on the flight performance of your plane, the strengths of yours, the weaknesses of the opponent, and you don't have to worry about getting third-partied by a missile from 6 kilometers away before you actually see anything coming. This battle rating is just a little bit different, and that is why I believe the statistics show that planes like the Ariete and the MiG-19 belong at the same battle rating as Sabres and MiG-17s, because the overall player stats don't show any significant rise in success on these 9.3 aircraft, because why would they be? It's really, whether or not you're a Big 19 or an F2 Sabre, you're going to be eating an AIM-9L and a head-on all of the same. The flight performance of the MiG-19 isn't going to save you there. And it doesn't seem to ever matter how often we complain about it, how many rant videos are published to YouTube, or how often the community just is constantly complaining and crying about this situation. Gaijin refuses to decompress BRs. I don't know why. Maybe they genuinely just think that people aren't willing to wait 60 seconds for a game instead of 15, if it means better matchmaking, but they refuse to increase the battle rating cap. And instead of actually starting from square one at 1.0 battle rating with reserve planes and accordingly balancing all of the following planes to an appropriate BR, and then wherever you end up with in the end is where you end up, instead they decide, no, we have to put 12.0, there's going to be 12 battle ratings, and we got to figure out how to balance everything in that 12 battle rating. And so I see absolutely no future for this era of jets. It may as well just be removed from the game, because I honestly am never going to voluntarily play this shit for as long as I'm playing War Thunder. It's absolutely miserable to play unless you're playing a select handful of jets. Again, planes like the A4N that have countermeasures and missiles and still decent flight performance. No, I'm not talking about one of those cringe attackers that aren't fun to play and also not fun to be playing against, like the A10 and the Su-25. I don't recommend buying any of the premiums at this battle rating. Not that I really recommend too many premiums in the first place, but especially not at this battle rating. Don't buy the 9.3s, don't buy the 9.7s, don't buy the 10.3s. It's just really not worth the money. Some of the 10.3s actually are capable, thankfully, things like the F5C, but for the most part, a lot of the 9.0 to 10.0 premiums have just been absolutely left in the dust, and you're really, like, who's gonna buy the Harrier GR1 anymore? Why would you buy the F86 F40? Not even sure that's still in the shop anymore. Why would you buy the Ariete? And honestly, I don't even see a point in buying the AV8 Harriers, because 2 missiles for having absolutely mid flight performance for a 9.7. Sure, you get countermeasures, but your flight performance just isn't enough. Once you run out of your 2 missiles, what are you going to do? Well, you just sit around with your thumb up your ass. So I wouldn't really recommend buying anything at this battle rating anymore. I don't recommend really playing any of the tech tree stuff either, but you know, there's a couple of gems hidden in there, so take that with a grain of salt. Going more modern? Sure, the game is a lot better. Going back in time to older vehicles like props and very early jets, sure, that's also possible to fix with some minor balance tweakings here and there. But until they really, truly increase the battle rating cap to something like 15, 16, or even 17.0 at this point, I see absolutely no hope for this era of jets and this battle rating bracket as a whole. You've seen me this match pretty much just trying to fight anyone. Literally anybody that gets near me, I'm going to try to fight because I am bored out of my mind right now. I can't catch anybody. I haven't been able to engage anybody. The A10s on the other team had denied like an area of 10 by 10 square kilometers on the map where a lot of the enemies were, and I just couldn't participate. If I did, they just had to turn their nose, point it right at me, shoot a 9L, and I'm fucked. There's nothing I'd have been able to do about it. So the fact that they can just deny me from even being able to fly around that portion of the map is frustrating enough. Having to fight these guys that go twice my speed at any given moment is also extremely frustrating, and I'm just sitting here waiting for one of them to do something stupid, get impatient, and bleed their speed right behind me, and then I can try to reverse them. Sure, I get some shots here and there, I miss them. I'm not the greatest aim with the area, I don't play it that often, but even then, I really shouldn't have to be this desperate to get a kill. I shouldn't have to be relying on the enemy just screwing up and doing everything wrong and stalling out right in front of me for me to be able to actually shoot anybody. And it looks like I'm finally getting my chance here. The F-104 is getting a little bit impatient. He's going up after me while slowing down at the same time. He's going to lose this fight every single time, and he's kind of noticing this. So he's trying to pull away. It's a little bit late. If I take a good line here and just kind of cut into him and follow him, I can lead a shot, but it is a little bit lengthy of a shot. Should it be too difficult, especially with the guns being this high velocity? But again, I'm just not that well practiced with the Ariete guns, and he misses, or I miss him. He gets away before I can get more shots in, so I was kind of stalling out there, and now he just absolutely dusts me, and there's nothing I'm going to be able to do about it until he tries to do the same thing again. He probably learned his lesson though, considering I almost killed him right there, and I highly doubt he is going to do the same thing again. And just for the record, that plane is at the same battle rating as me for some reason. I don't know why. I don't have an afterburner. I don't go supersonic, yet here he is flying 1,400 kilometers the other direction, and I'm just kind of twiddling my thumbs waiting for him to do something else. The F-5C that I tried to take an angle on to intercept before he gets to the bombing target, at the beginning of the game, has returned with another load of bombs. I try to take a little bit more of an aggressive angle this time, but it's still just not enough, and so I end up too far behind him to actually hit a shot. He's got a full load of bombs or rockets or something on his plane, and I still can't catch up to this guy. So I'm once again just playing chase with him, and I'm just gonna hope that I pick the right side here and hope he turns right after his bomb target. Unfortunately, he doesn't, so I'm on the wrong side. He turns left, and now I'm even further away from him. And I am slowly catching him for a moment, trying to kind of spook him, and maybe he's going to take some very aggressive action to stop that, but I think he just kind of turns around, flies the other way for a second, sees I go for the F-104, and while I'm going for the F-104, he's going to turn around thinking I'm distracted, which I kind of am, but I also know he's not a threat to me right now. Take a quick little pot shot at the F-104. It seems he's out of gas at this point. I'm just going to finish him off. I notice the F-5 is behind me, but I know he's too far behind me to actually kill me, so I'm not worried about it. I'm going to finish off the F-104. Because this is actually just the most action I've had this entire game. Being able to finally shoot at a target, and it's because he's out of gas. Wow, exhilarating gameplay. And now the F5's behind me, so I'm hoping that maybe he's getting a little bit more brave since he's starting out behind me. Just take one more quick finishing shot, or multiple, on this F-104 here until he actually dies for real, and now we will deal with the F-5. I'm hoping he's being a little bit more brave, a little bit more ambitious. He does have my 6 o'clock, so I don't know why he wouldn't just take the fight, and it seems like he doesn't really want to, so I turn in to chase after him, trying to take an intercepting angle once again, and now he pulls in, so I'm kind of on the back foot once again, and then he pulls away again. He has absolutely no interest in fighting me. He's just going to return to base. I do nothing the rest of the game. He lands, and the game ends by tickets before anything else happens. I had such a great time recording this video. As you can probably tell, that's clearly sarcasm. I don't recommend playing this BR. Don't buy anything premium at this BR. There's a couple gems in there like the A4N, as I said, but other than that, you just really have no reason to play it. I hope Gaijin increases the battle rating cap, but that's completely naive of me to think would ever happen. Here's the results screen for anybody that actually cares. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you on the next one where I have a little bit more fun.